comm going 10.8. I get asked a lot if I have my HF set up ready, or am I HF capable, and these from guys that are in the comm community and stuff, Survival Tech Nord, Comms Prepper, quite a few others as well. And I have to say truthfully that I don't, and I don't see for my use right now HF, high frequency, to be a priority for my immediate needs. I'm not knocking HF. I think it's a valid sort of platform to use. It's longer range without the use of infrastructure. For example, right now I need this simplex repeater here for me to communicate from my house over there, to negotiate these mountains over here, to reach me in a campsite that's over there somewhere, or mainly when shit hits the fan or whatever, or an emergency situation, over a ridge that's over there somewhere that's blocking my house from the valley floor. What I use is a simplex repeater to make that happen, and it works very well, albeit operationally kind of difficult and frustrating with my two little girls, but it does work. And for now, that is my immediate need. Even just having a radio on you, a UHF VHF radio that's available everywhere, that is, in my opinion, an immediate need. To have comms from my house to 7 blocks away, or something to that effect. Short distance communications, short range. The simplex repeater up here, or a full-fledged conventional repeater that I plan to upgrade here within the next 2 years, would be an intermediate range repeater depending on the wattage, and that takes care of the ridges over here blocking communications from my house to where I mostly work at in the valley, or up here in the mountains, because I do work on the hilltops up here. And if the grid goes down, I do have this, and this is my immediate need. So pretty much that is the main reason why I don't have an HF rig. They're expensive. For a cheapo unit, or not a cheapo unit, but an old used one, like a Yaesu, I forget the model, I think it's 101, one of those old HF units that Yaesu used to make. Refurbished, that's from $400 on up. A modern day HF rig, it's at least $500 and up. And not only that, you have to be licensed for that particular frequency band, 2 megahertz on up to 30 or something like that. Don't know exactly because I haven't looked into it, because it's not an immediate need for me. I only have a amateur tech license, and that for now is taking care of my immediate need. It's not that I'm putting down HF gear at all. It's just like I said, it's expensive. It's not taking care of my immediate need. So I could afford to wait on it until, either things get better or some of my other preps are up to snuff, and then I could possibly go that way. For now, I do have a shortwave radio that could listen to all those HF frequencies. So from my standpoint, listening is way more important than just talking. Then again, I have to consider who will I be communicating with. I'm not going to be interested, or I will be too busy to talk to somebody 500 miles away or more when the shit hit the fan. I have no time. Family doesn't have a radio. They're in New York City. They're 3,000 miles away, and none of them have any sort of license or even considered prepping at all. And my immediate family here, my household, they're too young. The wife is not interested in getting an HF rig or license, so we're stopped right there. And for them to use an HF radio in the house, it takes a bit more technical knowledge and and knowing how to tune into a frequency and dial it in. And antenna theory, operation during the day and night is different. So if you're 300 miles away and you use your HF radio to talk to home, you may not have connectivity because during the day the atmosphere is a bit changed. The layers of the stratosphere is different, so you may not get that skip that you need to negotiate mountain ridges or hills or whatever. You need to turn it to another frequency that is much more advantageous for that time of day or so forth. That is a lot of knowledge and experience that you need to be able to determine that, and also to kind of correlate that or coordinate that between you outside your home base and your home base. And I could tell you that right now that my family is not there. I mean, they have trouble with the simplex repeater, let alone HF. I mean, within time, yeah, we'll get up there, but for now, not an option. It's more confusion than anything, and if the shit hits the fan, they have to be on their toes. Alongside myself. Another thing is, yeah, there's disadvantages and advantages between using the bands HF or VHF or UHF. For me, I'm more experienced with the VHF, UHF side of the house because of the military and what I do now and everything. So I see the value of that and its shortcomings as well. Like for me to negotiate this hill and for me not to haul heavier equipment like a 20-watt radio on my back, I have to bring infrastructure out to the field to get that sort of range, like the simplex repeater here. With this, I'm able to just haul a 8-ounce, 15-ounce radio in my pocket or my pack there. And to me, that's more advantageous when I'm humping home or whatever, hiking home, to haul this than a 20-pound radio. I know they have 5-watt radios that are HF, the Yaesu, I think it's the 817 Delta. And those are man-packable, all-band radios, and that is killer. Nice piece of equipment. But I think I'm just going off the top of my head, that's $800 plus. And when I get into short range, I don't want to haul that, So that's where I'm coming from. And there's an issue too with HF where sometimes you cannot communicate with a radio that's 7 miles away from you, depending on frequency band, because that wavelength of signal will skip upwards, hit the atmosphere, and land on the other side, totally skipping your house. You could actually see your house and not communicate with it because it's still on that first wavelength trying to negotiate, the atmosphere to go on to the other side. I mean, it's perfect if you're 400 miles away, but short range communications with HF is really difficult. That is why in the military that I've seen, the guys go into shore, the Marines or in the other services, I can't speak for them, but I'm sure they have a 20-watt radio with them, a 20-watt HF radio, man-packable, and they take that with them to the shore where they're going, where the fleet, the Gator fleet is over the horizon, out of sight from the shoreline. So that's what, a good 12, 15, 20 miles away, possibly even longer. So they need an HF radio to negotiate the curvature of the earth in that scenario there. A VHF radio would not be able to negotiate that distance. They need to bring a heavier, more powerful radio to have that same effect. Depending on your situation and your mission, that what determines what sort of radio band and gear to utilize. On the HF side, they do have an antenna system that's called a NIVIS, Near Vertical Incident Skywave something. I'm sure people will correct me. But what it does is it's like a really sharp angled bank shot from straight up into the sky, hit the atmosphere and come straight back down, or areas near. So it's a really short angle hop, going straight up then straight back down, and then you could reach your 100-mile or less sort of range. But how big is that antenna? I haven't researched on how big that antenna would have to be, or the size of it to get that sort of effect. And I think you could actually make your own antenna with the field expedient wire, and going through the military manuals that teach you how to do that. But I haven't practiced that, and like I said, I would have to get another unit at home to receive that signal to see what my range is. So actually I'm going to have to spend twice to get my home base set up for HF communications. A base unit at home, and then one with me, man-packable or vehicle mounted. Lots of money there, lots of experience there, and you're going to have to upgrade your license, because it's like the top tier of the amateur radio license to legally do that, including your family. If they want to respond, they can listen all they want, but they cannot respond back to you during peacetime. So that is the big reason why I don't have HF yet. It is not an immediate need. You know, with this prepping lifestyle and everything, you really have to be careful of your priorities. HF is a nice thing to have. It's an okay hobby. You got to take care of your immediate needs first. I mean, it's daunting when you see people around you have 2 years worth of food saved up, and all you have is some top ramen in the cupboard, if that. Well, start putting away, and just get 3 days worth of food 1 week, and just build up slowly but surely without breaking the bank. And that's the whole idea, is not to break the bank. Firearms, yeah, especially on YouTube, we get all these keyboard commandos there going straight from a shotgun into a $1,500 AR-15 platform without even having a grain of rice to their name. So that's kind of like the same sort of idea that I see in communications, is don't beat yourself up because you don't have the latest and greatest and all that. I mean, those little bubble packs, they will work. You're just gonna have to sort of think of a comm plan to utilize them effectively, and know the shortcomings and the advantages of them. That's where I'm at. VHF, UHF all the way for me for right now. I got 60 miles effective range with my system so far, with an investment of maybe $400 with this setup here, and plus the HTs that are like $50 a piece or so, or even cheaper really. But when the funds come together, and like I said, when I catch up with all the other disciplines when it comes to preparedness, like food, shelter, practicing your skills, like getting into shape, physical fitness, and all that other minor details that are much needed, then I could think of the nice to have. And that's how I consider it, HF to be, is a nice to have for my situation. I'm not in a group. Family members do not have that capability, and I don't need to talk to somebody in Kansas when I have problems going on here. So that's where I'm coming from. Gorilla Comm going 10-10.